watched others before me surrender, take their lives because they thought society would never accept them. I feared for my own safety. I was determined not to let that happen anymore. So I set out with a modest goal. I wanted to change society. Okay, it wasn't anything big at first. Started with my family and my close friends. Some emotional and educational discussions, you can be sure. Then I moved on to coworkers and acquaintances. More difficult, lower success rate, but I was indeed changing hearts and minds in my corner of the world. But it wasn't enough. The circle became more difficult to expand, but I was committed to do so. Local exposure, then statewide activism, and then educational addresses to national audiences. But most often, the change was one-on-one. Interactions with a coworker, or a contractor, or a customer that didn't yet know my history, but respected my professional work. Now, I'm telling you this today because I need your help. None of us can change the world without each other. We can't just leave here after listening to a new list once again with only prayers and warm thoughts to offer.
Right.
We need to take action. And I'm not talking about action through violence, but change through discussion, through communication, and emotional connection with other human beings. To stop the deaths, we must reach out to everyone and educate them about acceptance, about thinking and caring before reacting with violence. And to do that, well, we must eliminate the fear, eliminate the hate, the taunting, the name-calling, the hazing, the bullying. They seem so minuscule at the time when viewed individually. Oh, you can shake it off. You'll get over it. It's no big deal. Words can't hurt you. Let me tell you, words do hurt. More often than the physical wounds that can heal, words have very lasting effects, particularly when you're young and still trying to find your place in the world, still trying to come to an acceptance of internal feelings that you don't understand and don't know who it's safe to reach out to. And often, the thin line is crossed without notice. Every flood begins with a single raindrop. Now, I understand that I stand on a national stage. Earlier this year, I was ridiculed, verbally challenged, threatened, taunted, and teased by those who apparently believe that my appointment, my very existence, was an affront to all that they believe in. But it's politics, and one has to have a very thick skin to survive. But it was not politics when, for the sake of a 26-second laugh on national television, transgender panic was used in a skit about me. David Letterman crossed that thin line. I don't need him to apologize to me, but he does need to apologize to those whose names could be added to a list like today's because of his insensitivity.
Right, right.
This joke encourages transphobia and amounts to trans bashing.
Right.
Laughing about hate and discrimination is not all right and should not be dismissed.
No.
By making a joke of my gender, he implied that it's okay to tease transgender people, okay to treat transgender people with less respect than others, okay to abuse transgender people. It's not acceptable. In his interview with Cher this week regarding Chaz, Letterman admitted his own ignorance. He stated his belief, which is held by many otherwise intelligent people, that transgender is extreme homosexuality. Well, it's not.
No.
It's something completely different.
No, it's not.
In fact, most of the gay community doesn't understand the difference between sexual orientation and gender identity. the abuse and the violence against gays isn't always because of their sexual orientation.
Right.
More often, it's because of what people see and perceive, their gender expression.
Right.
It's the incongruencies between what society has deemed normal and acceptable and how we express our gender, our identity, our self, that challenges some. Now, unfortunately, people don't cope well with challenges, particularly when they're not prepared for them. They react. They don't think and consider ramifications, impacts, outcomes. They react. And the only way to change reactions is through training and preparation. This is nothing new. Before I was asked to land an airplane, I trained. Dealing with anticipated emergencies, I trained. Leading and managing a team, I trained. I prepared. Of course, these were specialties that I sought out. But before I specialized, I was generally trained for life by my parents, early educators, and role models. It's been said that we learn everything we need to succeed in life in kindergarten. But it appears that we need some remedial training in how to deal with others, how we deal with conflict or unexpected situations, how to treat people that we perceive to be different from ourselves. And if it's about treatment of people looking or behaving differently, then it's really not such a unique issue. We have many potential allies. There are many other groups that we can reach out to on this same basic issue. Ethnic groups, religious groups, parents and teachers' organizations, disability groups. We all want the same thing. The right to exist, a chance to succeed, the opportunities afforded by education, access to employment, a place to live without prejudice, the glory to fall in love with whom we choose, keeping our names off a remembrance list.
Right.
You know, the basics. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It's been quite a journey for me so far. It's gotten much better along the way. Society is changing. Gender non-conforming people are much more visible than in decades past. A quarter of the states now have transgender employment protections. We have a national hate crimes bill signed into law.
Right.
Gender-variant persons have won local and statewide elections. And there have been several openly transgender persons working for